Hey everyone, it's Amy Nakos. How are you? I wanted to share a video with you today on an article that I recently wrote. And first, I'm going to share with you why this article even came about. So, for many, many months, I have been reporting that the market has stayed extremely stable. And in fact, our average price has been increasing in the overall Summit County market. And I said at the beginning of last year, the beginning of 2024, we're going to see price softening towards the end of summer, fall. And we didn't. It stayed pretty strong, but anecdotally, we were definitely seeing some product types that were slipping in price. So we dug into that a little bit more. One of the things I found was that high-end luxury properties did very well in 2024. So when you have more high-end luxury products selling, it pulls the price up of the rest of the products on the average price because we're just looking at the average, sometimes the median, but of course it pulls that all up. And I think that that's probably the reason that we saw really strong pricing continue in 2024, whereas there were some areas that saw price decreases. So what I did is I took three condo complexes because I know that these three condo complexes had seen some price reductions, price softening is what I'm going to call it. So you can see my screen right now. This is my blog. So amynakos.com/blog. And this article that I wrote has been turned into a blog post. So here we go. You can follow along if you want to go to that website. But the three complexes that I focused on were Treehouse in Wilderness, Buffalo Ridge and Buffalo Village combined. Now, a caveat on that, the Buffalo Ridge, Buffalo Village units, there are a few other buildings that also are part of this complex, but I just focused on these two, Buffalo Ridge and Buffalo Ridge Village, because they're next to each other and they have pretty consistent size units where buildings or units in the other ones I think would kind of throw off the mix. So I picked those two just for this analysis. And then Dillon Valley East and Dillon Valley West combined those. So with this, my thought was if I were to track the average price of all of the units in the complex and then track that over the last 10 years, I would be able to see what happened in these condo complexes. And then we could say, well, did they decrease or what was the percentage change on these, even though in our market we're seeing a steady increase and even no real dips. So here's what we did. Here are the results. So first with Treehouse, one of the things that was going on with Treehouse just kind of got hit with a perfect storm of situations that happened. One, they had a couple buildings who had some engineering problems. When the engineering problems were reported to any lenders to say whether there was any, I guess I'm just going to say any building problems, right? Like, are there any defects that need to be cured? The HOA manager over at Treehouse was saying, yeah, I mean, we've got a couple buildings that need to have some structural work done. This made all lenders not loan on this property. Now, even though the fix turned out to be not that big of a deal and able to be fixed, we saw this complex not be able to get loans. So that is why you're going to see that Treehouse had probably the biggest struggle. The second thing that's happened in our market is insurance, the cost of insurance to cover these large complexes. So we know that the Treehouse insurance doubled, tripled in price. I don't even know. I mean, I can get that information if somebody wants, but the insurance went way up. So that insurance cost gets passed along to the owners, and that results in higher HOA fees. So HOA fees in Treehouse are well over $1,000 a month for all unit types there. So what we saw, I just wanted to look at the overall market and say, can we have a trend line? Can we see what happened over here? And what you can see, this is average pricing across the board from studios to the two-bedroom plus lofts. We saw in 2022 where it hit the peak at a 546 number, and then it dropped in 2023, 21%. in 2024 dropped another 20%. So, that's 41%. You can see the increases we saw of a 44 and then a 12. Much of those increases were lost. So we're close back to the 2020 prices, still slightly above. But much of those COVID gains were lost due to lack of financing, higher HOA fees. So, I guess my advice on this one is Treehouse has nowhere to go but up. So if anybody's looking for an opportunity on this, I mean, it could be a good opportunity in Treehouse. I'll talk about short-term rentals in just a minute. Second, I went to Buffalo Ridge Village, combined these two. Now, this complex also saw a reduction in price, but certainly not as dramatic, about half of that as Treehouse. I guess what I could say about that is Buffalo Ridge and Buffalo Ridge Village didn't have any trouble with financing. So we still saw the decrease due to higher insurance premiums and higher HOA fees, probably combined with the fact that there are no short-term rental licenses available in this neighborhood, or there haven't been over the last few years. There's currently a wait list, which I think is good news because there are 14 to 16 licenses that have opened up. But we know this complex had financing available. So only a drop of 10 and then 11 versus the 2020 that we saw back in Treehouse. Third, I pulled in Dillon Valley. So Dillon Valley East and Dillon Valley West. These didn't see as high of an increase in 2021. You see only a 26% increase. 2022, another 26% increase. 2021 saw 44 and 10 in Buffalo Ridge and 44 and 12 in Treehouse. These were a little more spread out over 21 and 22, but the decrease in 2023 was only 2.6% and 2024 9.86%. How can I explain that? I think that my explanation on this might be that these are a little bit lower priced, so they continue to be an easier entry level. Number two, these did not have short-term rental license availability either, but these were normally not as used as much for short-term rentals. So the buyers of these were a lot of full-time residents and full-time occupants. So it didn't, maybe the short-term rental license effect didn't have as much of an effect on these. So anyway, that's what I have here. I do want to put one other caveat for all of these is that sometimes the mix of what sells is going to change your pricing. So for instance, let's just look at the Treehouse. And in 2022, I split this up into 1 bed, 2 bed, 3 bedrooms. And I'll put the link to the actual graphs in here because I know they're super small on this. But I think, we can see that there were a lot of 3 bedrooms that sold here in 2022. That could have pulled the price up if there were less studios, for instance. So we call it the mix of the car lot, right? So if you have a used car lot and 1 month you sell more Cadillacs and the next month you sell more, like Ford Escorts, you can still sell the same amount of cars, but the average price would be higher with the Cadillacs than the Ford Escorts. So there could be some of that in play in here. We did not break it out by unit type. This was more of a way to just to look at the whole trend and even see if prices had been reduced, and we can see that they have. So wanted to share this with you if you are looking at that entry level condo, and this could be true across the board. We are seeing it in other projects also, but not as much projects where you can get short-term rental licenses. Those are holding tight because you can offset expenses with that license. We'd be happy to run this type of analysis for you on your type of property or or a property that you might be interested in purchasing. But I think the note here is that the entry-level condo market has seen some softening. There are opportunities here that you're not necessarily going to see in other product types where we can see in the overall averages that the pricing has stayed steady. So please reach out if you have any questions, if you would like an analysis specific to your own needs, and we look forward to connecting with you.